when I saw Naya walking around the town, you can't miss him. Once you see Naya, you never forget. I mean, if you see him again somewhere else, you go, "There's that guy." You know? So I saw him wandering around, and then we had a yard sale. We had a garage sale over in our house. So we had a yard sale over there, and Naya came up and we started talking, and he asked me. I mentioned I had walked past here a few times and heard music. I knew that somebody here plays music, and so we started talking about it. And I told him that I play the keyboards, and so we started talking about the possibility of playing together. Some friends called me who I had known before when I was playing in bands in high school, and they said they needed to replace their keyboard player. Would I be interested? So at that point, I really didn't like my work anyway, so I said, yes, I think I would like to. So I went up to Sacramento and played a couple of songs. For about 5 years or so, I traveled around with that band. It went through a couple of changes. It was called Backroads, and then it was called Steamer, and then it was called Baby Grand. And Baby Grand, that was the most successful version of it, I'd say. I played with that group. We traveled all around the western United States, up to Alaska and down to Southern California. So yeah, there's some gigs coming up.
That's good.
That'll be fun. I've never played in a band quite like this before.
Okay.
I played in lots of different kinds of bands, top 40 music and jazz music and so forth, but I've never been in a group like this. This will be interesting. I think I'm excited because Naya is really interested in fusing elements together, and instead of just sort of trying to play very traditional reggae music, he wants to. He's been sending me links to YouTube videos and to bits to songs and musical pieces that he likes, and they're quite eclectic and varied. They're not one specific kind of music like traditional reggae music or something. He's got a lot of influences, and so that's exciting to me.
Confusion, I like to call.
Because I've been playing jazz. I've been a jazz player for I don't know, the last. After I stopped playing with my wife. After I stopped playing music with my wife, I started playing in some jazz groups and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm interested. That's where I'm focused mostly, I would say. I play piano over at my house, and I play a lot of jazz standards and things like that. So I think Naya is interested in bringing some jazz elements in, and I also like what we used to call funk or R&B, soul music from the United States. I like that a lot. So I think there's a possibility of incorporating some of that kind of stuff, blues and jazz and R&B. So. Yeah, that's exciting to me, because it gives me a lot of possibilities to sort of expand as a musician personally. I mean, some of the stuff that Naya's been sending me, I think some of that stuff is just really exciting. I'm looking forward to.
Let me take that.
I said this before. I think keyboard players have the best. I think keyboard players have the most latitude in this music, in reggae music in general. We're allowed to really do a lot of different kinds of things. We can incorporate different styles into the music without sort of losing the feel, of reggae. Losing the, the bass player can't do that. The drummer can't really do that. They really need to create the pulse of the music. So they don't have the freedom that like a keyboard player has, and to an extent, I suppose, a guitarist as well. And so I'm excited. I'm thinking that Naya and I are going to we're going to be doing some work together and doing some writing. Seeing if because he's told me he wants to hear, he wants me to do some stuff that's new, and he wants me to introduce some new things, and so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think we might be able to create some really interesting music. I know he likes Cuban stuff and African stuff, and starting out, when I first started out, what I used to listen to is like Rufus, Chaka Khan, stuff like that, like our Parliament, stuff that's like
Parliament?
yeah,
What's
Tower of Power. Was a band from Oakland, where I'm from. That's part of the Bay Area. That's the stuff that I think I was about 15 or so when I heard an album, Tower of Power's first album. Have you ever heard of them?
I haven't. No.
Yeah, no, they're really good. Incredible stuff. I heard that their first album was called East Bay Grease, and I was about 15. I heard that album, and really, it just made my jaw drop. I was like, whoa, what is that? I'd never heard anything like that. Because otherwise, I think before that it was like the Beatles, like a lot of people my age.
Cool.
I grew up listening to the Beatles and, like a lot of people. I mean, San Francisco rock, like Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane, stuff like that. So I heard East Bay Grease, and I just was completely taken up by that music. I just thought that's what I really like, with the sort of syncopated funk drumming and stuff. And so I think I listened to that. I was certainly starting in '79 with that group, Backroads, it was called then.
Okay.
That group, when I started playing with them, of course, we did top 40 music. So top 40 pop from 1979, 1980, which at the time was a lot of like disco. That's when the disco era. So that stuff had an influence on me, not because I really liked it all that much, but because it was what I was playing.